What's up guys, my name is Ryan and this is the PSC Life. So I just had a really awesome PvP hit. My heart's still racing a bit, so I wanted to walk through how it went with you guys. So the first thing I wanted to mention is that I've been using a lot of really heavy smoking of my RZCM. And when I do that, I think that 3 Zuka boats is better than 2 boats, and just 1 boat of medic should suffice. The concept behind this is basically that you're smoking right underneath rockets and shock launchers anyway, so you wouldn't need as many medics to try to heal through those. And on top of that, your troops get really bunched up when you smoke in between buildings, and having more boats of Zukas lets them spread out much more, and lets the rifles separate from the Zukas more quickly. So with that, let's go ahead and look at my attack. I did 2 GBE hits. I did one where I had a bad deployment and I retreated, and then I had an unsuccessful attack, so let's go ahead and look at the base. Here's the base we have. It's a shield generator and grappler base. There is 2 boosted ice statues. It's a corner layout, it's really spread out. The mortars seem to be pretty well positioned. So my first thought, I'll walk you through what I was thinking. I'm going to GBE this rocket on the left, smoke my troops into this gap next to the cannons, shock the shock launcher and mortars, and then the rocket and the shock launcher on the opposite side, and let my troops clear out that area, clear the shock launcher, mortars, the 2 remaining rockets, and eventually make their way up to the shield. And with that, they'd be able to kind of avoid the shock launcher, and hopefully take out the mortars before they did any real damage. So let's walk through how it went. I tried to deploy the cryos first to eat up these 2 mines, and it didn't really go that well, but whatever. So I smoked. I'll speed up the walk a little bit. Alright. So got my troops over. The medics made it up there okay. Troops got really spread out, so I flared in the ground, did my shocks, and I didn't have enough to really do much else, so I threw a med kit to try to heal against this rocket. Now unfortunately here, they didn't clear enough in time, and a whole bunch got taken out and eaten up by this shock launcher that I didn't think was going to be very relevant. I didn't have quite enough gunboat energy to keep doing anything else, and I lost 3 medics from the single shot defenses as I was trying to clear. So I got the big time defenses down, but I lost so many troops that by the time I flared up to the mortar, it did its 1 shot on the riflemen, and I really had nothing much left. And believe it or not, the shock launcher was somehow still in range. So I was nowhere close to finishing the base, so I went ahead and just bailed out, and all my troops died. So, I tried to come up with a new strategy. Go ahead and take a look at this one. My second time around, I decided to try smoking to a different location. I saw the shock launcher really do a lot of work against my troops when I was parking so close to it. And on top of that, I kind of wanted to reduce my shocks, because I threw 2 shocks right at the beginning of my last attack, and then I had no GBE to keep doing anything else. So I thought I'll GBE the front rocket and the flamethrower right near the 2 rockets in the back, smoke my troops into the location where the flamethrower was, so they'll be out of range of both rockets. I'd need 1 shock on the shock launcher plus mortars, maybe a critter box on the iron mine to distract the shock launcher, and I'd be able to clear from there. That'd let me hit the same core defenses pretty quickly, and hopefully get out of the range of the shock launcher a little faster. So I went ahead and threw my GBE, and I sat there for a minute trying to figure out exactly how much I needed to see if I could take out one of these cannons or snipers beforehand. I ended up deciding against it because the mortar was going to become relevant, so I deployed my rifle spread out a bit, the rest of my troops and I started smoking. I tried to delay my smokes as long as possible, but I didn't space them out very well, so I ended up just having enough GBE for one shock and nothing else. Luckily, my medics all got right in the grouping with the troops, so I didn't lose any on the initial part. Another big deal is that the shock launcher only hit maybe a quarter of my troops instead of almost all of them. I had enough for one more shock once I cleared out a couple of things, and the shock launcher hitting the medics instead of most of my troops really bought me enough time. I was able to clear out the shock launcher and all the relevant defenses around there and flared up top out of range of the front shock launcher. And at this point I knew I was in really good shape. I still had all of my medics, I still had a boatload of riflemen and most of my Zookas. So I flared up against the back wall, threw down a critter box to try to distract this mortar. Didn't really pay attention to it, so I had to shock it pretty quickly. But I still had so many troops, I was really excited at this point, because I knew it was going to work out really well. So as they come in, my shock on the flamethrower and mortar kept that shock long enough. I built up enough GBE for one more shock on the flame and mortar down on the left, and I just had so many troops left, it wasn't even close. I was really amazed that this attack went so much better than my first one. I'm still trying to work out why it was such a huge difference. I think a lot of it had to do with the shock launcher, and a bit of it had to do with how many buildings there were right around the location where my troops were in the first attack that kept them staying in the same place for so long. But either way, I was really happy with this attack. It's one of the first times that I have done such a heavy, smoky RZCM attack and been able to overcome mortar placement that's as good as this one was, where my troops were being one-shotted by mortars. So ultimately, it went really well. I'm happy with the result, and I got an intel and a crystal out of it. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you guys again next time. Happy booming.